the idea of planting seeds, planting ideas, and allowing ourselves to bloom where we are, to grow where we are. The journey that we're on is one of discovery, looking for that essence of us, finding that perfection. But the perfection we're looking for actually doesn't exist. You see, we were created perfect, whole, and complete, and yet we are living our lives as though we're not enough, or not good enough, or somehow broken and flawed. But what if it's those cracks in the veneer that create our beauty, our perfection, our innate wholeness? What if it's a little bit of both, the perfect and the imperfect, that comes together to create the authentic human? See, I don't think we were meant to behave perfectly all the time. And how would we? You see, my idea of perfection might be different than yours. And yours might be different than your parents, or your spouse, or your siblings, or even your children. So who's correct? What we want to do is find a way to live from our own sense of divine purpose. And that requires that we remember who we are. Because I think we've forgotten that through this life journey, as we've been moving along, we have been told how we should act, what we should do, the work we should consider, how much money we make. All of these things have been put in place to create perceived value. We are valuable when we are perfect. I don't know about you, but I've never met anybody who's perfect. And yet, the imperfection is, in fact, that perfection, I think. It's just like in Japanese pottery, there will be a crack, and it brings the realness to bear. You see, in life, there's always going to be those moments, those cracked finishes that might appear to be wrong, but what if they're right? What if that part of us that we've called bad is actually the part of us that fuels our greatness? Because I think that might be what's going on. I think that might be the truth, that there is within us something that is powerful and positive and will take us where it is we choose to go. But we have been riddled with a sense of what's right and wrong, not from capital T truth, but from the perceptions of the people around us. So today, what I want to focus on is the beauty of imperfection and living authentically. So we know that pursuing perfection is a mistake, that will limit our potential. But as we celebrate the imperfections, that actually gives us an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. And as we learn to love and accept ourselves, we actually become more willing to love and accept others. Funny how that works, right? Pardon me. So we want to let go of the ideas of not good enough or not yet. We want to free ourselves from all those self-imposed limitations. And we want to open the door to infinite possibilities. And we have to do that by allowing ourselves to be open at the top, to surrender what it is we think we know, so that we can move into a place of curiosity to discover what is yet to be discovered, to become curious about life and about who we are and our journey forward, where we're headed, what it is that we would like to achieve out of life. So we want some strategies for navigating the challenges of life and doing it with a sense of grace and resilience rather than the struggle. So we reframe our perceptions. Here's a thought, shifting from that critical lens to one of gratitude and appreciation. So let's say there's an area of your life that's challenging you at the moment, and maybe it's your job, and maybe it's somebody that you work with. What we want to do is shift perspective. So we might be looking at that individual as somebody who's mean to us or doesn't like us or is picking on us. We might perceive them as being or doing something deliberately to cause us pain. Now, we may or may not be correct in that, but assuming that automatically sets us up for discomfort and suffering. So we want to shift the perception. And we can do that a couple of ways. One is we could sit down and have a conversation with the individual and discover what's really going on for them. I remember a story years ago of a minister standing up giving a talk and somebody in the front row shaking their head like this through the whole thing. And he was trying to avoid that person and look anywhere but there. But his eye kept getting drawn there. But when he was leaving the service, and the minister's standing at the back door, this guy in the front goes up to him and goes, "Oh, I've lived my whole life from this place of negativity, and it could have been so different. I'm so glad I was here today." We make assumptions all the time. And if we were more curious about ourselves and others, we might limit those assumptions and begin to live more authentically and honestly and creatively. So I think one of the best things we can do is recognize that these imperfections are not obstacles, but maybe stepping stones, an opportunity for us to get from one place to the next and to do it with as little discomfort as possible. It's our resistance that creates that discomfort. Whereas if we accept where we are and willingly begin to move forward, it gets so much easier. So imperfection is like a pathway to self-discovery. When we see something that we don't like about ourselves, we can begin to sit with that and maybe ask some questions of ourselves, explore why we feel the way we do, begin to shift our focus by embracing what we've called an imperfection and look at it instead as an opportunity to learn something new. And then some of the things that we think we should or shouldn't do didn't even come from us, right? It was parents or siblings or teachers who said, this is right and this is wrong. And because we were young at the time, we accepted that. We believed it. And so it becomes our reality. But if we shift our perception, then it can begin to change. So what we want to do is some self-care. Yes, self-care. We want to learn how to love ourselves as we are, where we are. You heard in our mission statement that we accept you as you are, where you are. Yes. Can you accept you as you are, where you are? See, that's the big question. See, when we start to really love and accept ourselves, and I do mean all of us, all of the areas of ourselves that we might judge as bad or wrong or good, that we accept all of it as simply a part of our being, and that all of it is contributing to the wholeness that we're seeking. You see, we're not really seeking perfection, we're seeking wholeness. Because if we come from wholeness, the pain and suffering diminishes, and we begin to live a more authentic, exciting, and positive life experience. And all of us have the ability to do that. So we're looking at what would self-compassion look like and self-acceptance. And we use those tools as ways of navigating any of the discomforts or challenges we might be facing. We all have the opportunity to grow. And as we accept our own unique nature, as we accept our own divinity, we start to see that all of the judgments we had were really nothing. They were expressions of an illusion. They were a perception of reality that wasn't capital T truth, but appeared true for me. So as I shift that and look at it from a new place, there's something that occurs that's very, very different. And that's when the healing can happen. So through self-acceptance, we embrace our unique journey and we find peace and fulfillment as we embrace those imperfections. And what is an imperfection really? Is it imperfect? I don't think so. I think we've been conditioned to believe that certain things are good and certain things are bad. But if you look, if you were to take the whole world and ask these questions from people of different countries or whatever, they would have a very different worldview. And so their perception would be different. And from that different perception, they would be experiencing something totally different than what we are. So who's right? Interesting question, isn't it? So living an authentically joyful life, we start to accept that the imperfections that we perceive are the keys to wholeness, and wholeness is the key to a joyful, beautiful life. I have to accept all of me. And by letting go of the need for external validation and societal expectations, we align ourselves with our true essence and live authentically. As we embrace those imperfections, it allows us to cultivate a sense of freedom and self-expression and joy that arises from living in alignment with that authentic self. So this journey that we're on is really about finding our own voice, and that might take some courage. Courage to stand up and be seen, courage to stand up and speak out, courage to allow whatever needs to be experienced to happen. So how do we get there? How do we do that? And that's the big question. Can I find a way to be okay with me? Can you find a way to be okay with you? See, there's a transformative power that exists when we embrace who we really are. When we embrace all of us, right? Not just the part of me that I show to the public, but the all of me, the who of me, when nobody's looking. How do I behave then? What do I do then? How am I showing up given these various different scenarios? You see, we are always at choice, and we get to choose how we're going to live and how we're going to be viewed and seen. And as we embrace what we call imperfection, we start to see how it actually rounds us out in beautiful ways, and we become more of who we truly are. And we begin to deepen our understanding of beauty and potential. And as we create this wonderful opportunity for self-discovery and acceptance, we start to see how much joy we really have in the moment that we accept who we are. But we must accept who we are, where we are, without hesitation or reservation. Dennis Merritt Jones in The Art of Being wrote, "You can try to wait until everything is perfect in your life before you seek that moment of enlightenment. But you will be waiting an eternity, literally." So I think Dennis is suggesting that waiting for perfection will keep us waiting. Do you know anybody who's done that? Waiting for retirement, waiting to have children, waiting to, we sometimes think we have to put off certain things until we have everything worked out. But then all of a sudden we get to the end of our lives going, whoa, I wanted to do this and I never did it. Why didn't I do it? So let's not wait. Let's take action. Ernest Holmes in 365 Science Mind wrote, your relationship to life is that you are of like nature to it, right? So God is I am. I am the I am, right? We are one. We share the same nature. You are in it and it is in you. Some part of you exists as pure, unmanifest spirit. This side of your nature has never been troubled. Since you are fashioned from the stuff of the invisible, its nature is incarnated in you. So what this is suggesting is that this divinity, this higher power, is not something separate, above, or apart from me, but is actually being me. So it's the cells of my body, the activity of my life. It is the thoughts that I think, all of it is this divine essence. So when I can look at that as love, as I can look at that as life loves me, the universe loves me, God loves me, if I can really get that, then what I realize quickly is that whatever I have imagined is broken or flawed is simply a mistake in my thought process, and I can change it. How cool is that? Ernest Holmes also wrote in The Science of Mind, the universal subjectivity is mind in an abstract and formless state, a creative universal energy waiting to be used, to be operated upon, willing but having no volition of its own, ready but having no initiative, formless but ready to take form. So how does it take form? You see, it is our thinking that moves the energy into form. It is our thinking that moves everything. So as I am focusing my attention on all that is good and beautiful, warm and lovely, my life then expresses more of that. If I'm focused on life is hard and difficult and everything is against me, my life continues on that vein. So I really want to pay attention to the words I'm using and the words that I'm thinking, because what I think about, I bring about. So there's a quote from Fernando Pessoa, and it's from his poetry. To be great, be whole. Exclude nothing. Exaggerate nothing that is not you. Be whole in everything. Put all of you into the smallest thing you do. So in each lake, the moon shines with splendor because it blooms up above. That's lovely. I like that. Exclude nothing and exaggerate nothing. We sometimes exaggerate things, don't we? We do like to do. Make it bigger, make it brighter, make it better. But what if instead we just welcomed everything and then lived from that divine nature? What might that look like? Might be a little different. Audre Lorde wrote, I find I am constantly being encouraged to pluck out some one aspect of myself and present this as the meaningful whole, eclipsing or denying the other parts of self. We do that, don't we? We decide some area of us is not right, not good, and we try to pretend it's not there. But it is. And denying any part of us is a form of resistance. And then whatever we resist persists. But because of the resistance, it actually becomes more resistant. So it becomes stronger, which then causes us even more challenges. Pardon me. So if you think about the idea of radical acceptance, rather than striving for perfection, we just discover how to love ourselves into wholeness. And that comes from Tara Brach, who wrote Radical Acceptance, Embracing Your Life with the Heart of a Buddha. Embracing your life. What if your life is actually right on point? Right on target? What if great things are right here where you are and more are coming? What if you are already fabulous, beautiful, remarkable, gifted, unique, and special? What if that's the truth about you? What if that's how we perceived ourselves and others? Perfect, whole, and complete. See, if we looked at each other that way, we would start to see the good. You see, wherever we focus our attention, that's what we see more of. So if we look in the mirror and we go, oh, I got some lines. Oh, I've put on some weight. Or, oh no, I've got some gray hair. Wherever we're focusing our attention, when we're focusing in that way, we're judging and we're saying that this is bad. What if it's not bad? What if it's perfect? What if it's all good? What if the way we've been created is right for what we're here to do in this lifetime? That to me seems more logical. That an intelligent universe would create me intelligently and create me in a way that I can fulfill whatever my purpose is on life. What's my purpose here in this life experience? Surely I came into life equipped for that purpose. Yes? Does that make sense? I came in equipped to be the person I was created to be, just like you. So that creation, that ability, as I focus on gratitude, as I look in the mirror and speak words of gratitude, I am so grateful that I'm here. I'm so grateful that I'm born. I'm so grateful that life is flowing so beautifully. I am grateful for my body. I'm grateful for my mind. When we move into that place of gratitude, we've now shifted our perception from resentment to gratitude. That makes all the difference in the world. All of a sudden now we're maybe living up to our potential. Now we can, stand longer in a crowd and go, I am who I am, and I'm okay with that. I don't have to be like somebody else. I can just be me. And whatever else is going on, frankly, is none of my business. Who am I in the grand scheme of things? And can I live that life? So for our personal practice, there needs to be something that we do differently and that will support embracing our imperfections. And really, what we want to do is self-reflection and gratitude. So each day, take a couple of minutes to reflect on your experiences, acknowledging any perceived, got the word perceived, imperfections or challenges that arose. And instead of dwelling on them with self-criticism, choose to shift your perspective and find gratitude for the lessons and growth opportunities that they provide. So at the end of every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Aspects of yourself, your journey, even things that you might have previously perceived as imperfect. Because what this does is this helps us to shift our perspective and to become more compassionate of ourselves, more accepting of ourselves, and also to have a greater appreciation for the beauty and possibilities that are found within those imperfections. And that's when we can begin to create a joyful, authentic life. That's when we can start to live with a deeper sense of, yes, my life is good, very, very good. So what we want to do is look for examples of times when, we've had a really positive outcome. Look for opportunities to embrace ourselves and whatever might be that we might be experiencing in a way that's doubting or critical. Begin to shift that so we can see it as a blessing and a gift. We are at choice here, and we can plant seeds of perfection. We can plant seeds of compassion, understanding, respect, love, gratitude. Because as we plant those seeds, that's what is going to grow. And that's what's going to change everything for us moving forward. It's a new day. I invite you to be the best you can be. Beautifully, beautifully imperfect. Thank you.